Hey, guys, well, do I have a story for you? My sister, let's call her Ashley, is a spoiled, attention-seeking brat, and it's getting on my nerves. See, I'm an avid user of this website, and have had read of many situations like this, but I never thought that my situation would go this far where I would be seeking help from here. By the way, the names I'm going to use are not real because I know my sister is also addicted to this thread. Anyways, my situation is not like the ones where one child is getting attention while the other is getting dimes. My parents gave both of us everything we needed to grow, but they did prefer, of course, my sister more than me. I mean, if we both differ in opinion, they'll take her side instead of mine. Ashley is 1 year younger than me, but because she skipped one grade, she could study together with me in the same class. If I give a term to our relationship, I'll call it toxic friendly. She'll be fine with me as long as everything is going according to her wishes, and if not, she'll make the house a living hell. We both share the same birthday, and Ash is not at all pleased about the fact that she has to share her attention with me. My parents used to treat us like twins on our birthdays, and so they would give the same presents to both of us, but she would fight to get more. I remember one time she hit my face with a plastic plate when we were both about to blow out the candles. When we grew up, she became popular and I became nerdy, so she convinced my parents to celebrate my birthday one day later than hers, as she would have lots of friends coming and her preferred party theme was different than mine. You know, with time, I stopped celebrating my birthday. My father would usually take me to a museum or exhibition and call it a day. I never complained about it, though, because my sister would usually have parties with lots of guests, and my parents were tired of arranging it or cleaning it after. You know, there was a whole thing about the graduation party. My sister failed and had to stay in the same class for a year, while I graduated with good scores. My parents did not know that would happen, so they had already arranged a party for both of us way before that. I felt bad for her and decided not to go to the party. But even before I could say anything, she forced my parents to not join my graduation ceremony, and she trashed all the party arrangements. My parents had to pay for the props she destroyed, and I was angry with her actions, and decided to have a word with her. But my mother shut me up, saying she was upset and I should be considerate of the situation. I didn't get to have my parents at my graduation ceremony and celebration because of her, so I wasn't really happy about it. Also, my parents were so concerned about Ash that they did not even congratulate me, even when Ash was not in the room. Another thing about Ash that I don't like is that she has always been boy crazy since we were teenagers. And I just never was. I mean, yeah, I occasionally did a hookup, but I've only officially dated one individual throughout my school years. But my sister is always chit-chatting with at least a couple of boys, and it changes every month. But I continued to hear her tell me about all the other boys that she was talking to, or who she liked. It always concerned me, whether because, I'm envious or because many of these boys have tried to get with me. I don't know. At one point, it's just getting cringy. This was because we share many mutual friends and interact with many of the same people. It was difficult for me to meet a boy in my town who wasn't only interested in being intimate with me or who I truly liked. But my sister didn't care. She let some of these guys exploit her for their benefit because she believed that they would simply like her. Yeah, it's bad. However, when she finally got into college, she was in a serious committed relationship, I'll tell ya. And later, when the guy was earning good money, they decided, let's get married. I also got married after college, and see, she already had a kid, and unfortunately and coincidentally, we announced my first and her second pregnancy almost at the same time. I announced it one day before her. She was jealous because I took her thunder, even though my parents were acting like she was the only one giving birth for the first time, and then there was a baby shower/gender reveal. Keep in mind that my parents and family held some sort of celebration for each of my sisters when we were pregnant, and throughout their various pregnancies. She told my parents she didn't want one, and because she didn't want one, I wasn't permitted to get one either because, quote, it's not fair to do it for one and not the other. But I stated that I wanted one since this was my first pregnancy, and I wanted to give my baby the same amount of work, enthusiasm, and celebration that everyone else had. So they reluctantly agreed to do this, but they insisted on it being a collaborative effect so that my sister is not left out. I've already stated that I don't want a combined baby shower or gender reveal for the simple reason that she has overshadowed me at every opportunity during my pregnancy, and I want one day to be about me and my baby. I also stated that I did not want her to be there for the same reason. To make matters worse, I fell the previous week during a snowstorm with a slick condition. I slipped on the step out of my house and was absolutely terrified. So I hurried to the hospital, and guys, just to add that no one answered my calls or texts about this while I was worried and distraught, and my husband's sister ended up accompanying me to the hospital because my husband works away during the week. During one of the scans, the ultrasound technician accidentally used a gendered pronoun revealing the gender. I was happy I was having a baby boy, but at the same time I was upset that my parents decided not to do any kind of party, as I already knew about it. By the way, to tell you about the story, I totally forgot to introduce my husband. After college, I studied marketing, and my husband Felix was my classmate. He got a high-paying placement because of his performance, and now he has his own marketing agency, which is doing quite swell. I also had a job like Felix used to, but after he opened his own agency, I also took care of the marketing department of the company. We're quite a power couple, as they say, and, this is also one of the reasons my sister is jealous of me. My brother-in-law has a good job, but she is a housewife. They don't have any financial issues, but as Felix and I are more rich, she can't digest the fact. One day we were invited to a family event and Felix crossed a milestone in the company, so he announced it when our brother-in-law asked how his business was going. My brother-in-law looked happy with the progress, but when I looked at Ash, I could tell her stare could burn the whole house down. In front of everyone, she called out her husband for his inability to get the same amount of money. After screaming at him in front of everyone, she left the party without him. After about a month, I heard that she was getting a divorce. I was sad because my brother-in-law was genuinely a good person. He's a good dude. She stayed with my parents for a few months and later got married to some rich guy. I was one of the bridesmaids at her wedding, and for no reason she was extremely rude to me. I tried not to create a big scene on her big day, but when I found out the reason for her behavior, I couldn't help it. The reason she was jealous was because my baby boy was gathering guests with his cuteness. Out of nowhere, she tells me that she should not have invited any of my family members. It sounded so rude that I took my kid and husband and left the wedding. Later, my mother called and said how upset my sister was for creating a scene at her wedding. They wanted me to apologize to her, but I refused. However, I think my sister really had a bad luck, because after marrying the rich guy, he had also some health issues, and because of that, he started working from home and negotiated a salary. On the other hand, our company gained the most revenue this year. I told my husband not to tell her or else it might upset her, but my father accidentally spilled it on dinner night. Sometimes I want to advise my sister to do some work herself, as it might boost her self-confidence and occupy her mind. But I know she's just going to create a scene if she hears the advice from me. I understood her situation, and I wanted to help her figure out how to calm her mind. But she's always doing something unimaginable beforehand, and did not even give me a chance to approach her. However, this is now my whole life, and I'm used to it. But my current situation is quite out of control, and I need your help. See, she has recently been more curious about my hubby. She asked me about his likes and dislikes, and she's kind of getting clingy as well. The situation is that recently she has announced that she's pregnant. Her husband needed to work out of town for a few days in the span of 1 month, and because of that he rented an apartment in that town for 1 month as he could not travel frequently. She does not have a good relationship with her in-laws, and my parents are out of town as well. So she just needed someone to take care of her during this situation. I was the only one available. To be honest, living with her for 1 month will be hell for me. But morally, I think I should just let her stay, as nobody is available at the moment. She has destroyed many precious moments in my life, and I'm scared to let her into my happy family. She also doesn't like my child. So I'm in a dilemma. Sometimes I just feel like I should tell her that I'll be out of town as well, and can't help her. But I can't. Please tell me what I should do at this exact moment. Update number 1. Hey, wow, some of you are just plain mean in the comment section. I mean, come on. I don't know. I can't believe I was told to be selfish and petty for being smart and getting a job. I don't know which story you read and came to the comments under my post, but in my story, I was only on the sacrificing side. Someone pointed out that it was bad for me to sulk at my graduation ceremony. I literally refused to join the party after I heard that Ashley failed. All I wanted was a little congratulations from my parents when Ashley was not there. You know, they visibly ignored it and made it look like being smart was bad. I'm not kidding. When I was a kid, I always saw my mom comforting Ashley for failing exams. At that moment, she had always used to tell me to go to my room, like my being there would make the situation worse. One time, I deliberately failed an exam to get that affection from her, but they scolded me instead, saying I was irresponsible. I was grounded for a week without phone privileges. I'm thankful that I got my husband. He made me feel like I'm not someone who is an outsider and ignorable. Because of this reason, I didn't want my sister to be in my house. But I could not leave her just like that. See, my baby boy was also supposed to stay in his grandparents' house, so I did consider letting her just live in my house, as there would be only me and my husband. I discussed it with him, and we both agreed to let her in and were preparing for the worst. But unfortunately, that was not enough. She's making our lives a living hell. We let her stay in our boys' room as our guest room had lots of stuff and we did not get time to take them out. We placed a mattress in the room and she was okay with it. Her room was opposite of ours and we kept it that way because we needed to be vigilant about our baby boy. The morning after she came, we found out my baby's stuff was trashed outside of the room. When I asked her, she said she needed space, and having the baby crib in the room was freaking her out about her own pregnancy. I asked her, well, why would she throw it like that instead of asking me just to take it out? Some of the things were scratched and broken, and I swear my tone wasn't harsh, but she starts to cry and starts running to my husband, who was in the kitchen at the time. She tightly hugs him from behind and starts complaining about me and demanding that he do something. All of this happened so suddenly that both of us were in silent confusion. After some moments, we thought it was probably her hormones and tried to calm her down. I suggested to her that we arrange a guest house for her, which she refused. I was confused because if the baby room is bothering her, she would agree to stay somewhere else. Right? Well, later that day, I realized what the reasoning was. She was in her skimpiest mesh clothing, roaming around in her room with her door open. Everything was visible. My husband had a small work set up in our room beside our door, and her face was towards my sister's door. He was not even looking at her. He was busy with work. My sister was deliberately walking into her room with a book in her hand, pretending to read. There's no way that she was reading because she never does. And the book was upside down. I saw everything from behind a curtain, and I don't know what she was trying to do, because it's been 1 week and I caught her doing it almost every day. I know she's boy crazy and an attention seeker, but I've never seen her do anything like this for my husband. To be honest, my husband is not even her type, so I'm just overanalyzing the situation. I hope. Update number 2. Hey, I'm updating it just 1 week later. I never thought she would be that evil. I knew she was jealous and an attention seeker, but I never thought that she would truly just destroy my life. Let me tell you what happened this past week. She tried to use her cheap tricks to woo my husband. For example, she would suggest movie night and would choose a horror movie, pretend to be scared and jump in my hubby's lap. She would always sit beside my husband, and if I suggest some other place to sit, she would excuse things like the fact that, for my suggestion, the screen would be too harsh and it would be bad for her health or the baby. My husband loves to cook in his free time. He has a notebook full of recipes that he's collected from different places and will cook them and feed me by hand. It's one of his love languages. But even after seeing us being busy with ourselves and having our own quality time, she entered the kitchen and asked him to feed her as well. And when he did, awkwardly, she starts to moan. Well, later, at the dining table, she was forcefully feeding my husband. She saw how close we were and was jealous of it, so I got to the book club and work sometimes. It's one of my hobbies. One day, my husband came before me and went straight to our room. Previously, he used to wait for me in the living room with our son, but after my sister came, he spent most of the time in our room. He went into the room only to find my sister taking a bath in our washroom, and the door was wide open. He told her, to wear something and get out of the room. She smirked and said that he could look at it, as it's just like his wife, but better. He gets angry and ordered her to get out of the room, and when I came back, he told me everything. I confronted her, and she simply said my room's bathtub was bigger than hers. So she came, and she had no idea that my husband would come in there at all, not that early. I know she knows my husband will come early and will be alone, as she knows I go to the club twice a week on a particular day, because I told her to order dinner from outside as I would be late. The next day, she tried to frame me for cheating on my husband, but failed. And when we were having breakfast, she commented that I would go to that book club to see my ex. It's true that one of my ex-boyfriends from high school owns a bookstore. Yeah, and has a book club as well. We were friends before, so he invited me to join his book club. But after I went there, his motive looked sketchy, so I discontinued and joined a new club. My husband knows everything about it. She could constantly talk about my ex whenever all of us were sitting together, ruining the mood. We used to go to the same class, so she knows about everything. It's evident that she's trying to ruin my healthy, happy relationship. Thankfully, my husband knows everything about me and she can't do anything, but I'm scared that she'll frame something against me and do something unimaginable. I can't wait for the month to end. Update number 3. Hey guys, it's me. I am here for another update, and you won't believe this. Well, by the way, I'm updating this after a week. So, my sister. She came here to ruin everything and to woo my husband. She's not even pregnant, and my head is spinning right now, and I don't know what to do at this moment. Let me enlighten you on what happened. Her flirting game was on with my husband, and I know she can't do anything no matter how hard she tries. But her constant cringy approaches were excessively uncomfortable for my husband. I was just telling him to bear it for just a few more days, but one day she crossed the limit. One day my husband was feeling ill and came home early to take some rest. He saw my sister drinking on the sofa, and we're not supposed to drink while we are pregnant. My husband told her that she should not be drinking alcohol, but she was too drunk to listen. When my husband saw she could not be stopped, he went into his room to sleep as he was sick. But after some moments, my sister came into the room and started seducing him. She was drunk as a skunk and was not listening to his pleas. She was throwing herself at my husband, and when I came back, I found out my husband had locked himself in the washroom. He pleaded with me to get rid of her and told me everything that she was trying to do. Well, with anger, I came out of the room to look for her, but I couldn't find her. We both have some mutual friends, and I thought that I could just call them. One of them confronted and said, yes, my sister is with her, and she's drunk and sleeping. She also informed me that in her drunken state, she blurted out things related to me that sounded dangerous. She asked me to meet her and told me everything. There, I found out my sister, she's not even pregnant, she lied, saying that I wanted her to live with me for a month to fix our relationship, and her plan was to seduce my husband and steal him from me. The only thing that she said that angered, me the most, was that she was planning to abandon my boy accidentally. Yeah, and would put the blame on me so that my husband would break up with me. You know what, guys? When I heard these things, I was scared for my family. I never could have imagined my sister's jealousy and attention-seeking behavior would take her this far. I want revenge. I can't think straight at this moment, but I want everyone to know what she's up to. She's downright evil, and she has kids of her own too, and I can't even imagine how she could even think about abandoning a child just for money. I feel sorry for her kids and my husband. Please suggest to me some ways to show her her place. Update number 4. This is the final update of the story. Thank you, guys. Thank you for all your heartfelt opinions. I was really losing everything to keep a steady mind. Your opinions and suggestions really helped me think straight. I needed to show her what she could get from messing with my family. By the way, I'm updating this a month later, sorry for the delay, but lots have happened during this time. I was waiting for a closer look to give you a proper update on the situation. Do you remember when I said that she was drunk, went to one of her friends and slept there? Well, she came back, and we pretended like nothing happened. I just casually asked where she was, and she said that she was with a friend. I'd planted hidden cameras everywhere in the house and said that I would be out for a day, and probably am going to come back the next day. She seemed happy. I assured my husband that it would be the last time he would be bearing her cringe attitude. As it was planned, I went out and she thought it was the best moment for her to seduce my hubby. She told him that as he did not confess that she was drunk yesterday, she thinks he's probably into him. She was basically throwing herself carelessly, and my husband, as usual, was trying to act like he was into her as well. He asked if she was really pregnant, and she confessed that she wasn't, and she did all this to get him. She thought it was okay to give out her plan as he is into her now, and she told him everything that got captured by the camera. After the confession, I suddenly came into the house and told her everything, and with frustration she marched out. I sent the footage to my brother-in-law, my parents, and her in-laws. Her husband filed for divorce, and it's been a shock for her, as she doesn't have anywhere else to go right now. Her in-laws blew my parents' phone after failing to contact my sister to give her a piece of their mind. My sister dipped somewhere, and we still don't know where she went. I don't even care which rat hole she ended up in. My parents are silent about everything, and my baby boy is back with me. And we're happy, and we got rid of the pest. I don't regret what I did. She was basically planning to destroy a healthy, happy family and use lies to get into my house. After the trauma we went through, we came into my in-laws' house for some comfort.